like, I'm 17, and he was like, oh, you're a train baby. So basically he was like saying like, oh, you're a product of what the train, from now on, from that point on, from 17 years while you're on the train, she was basically probably all hyped up from the drugs or whatever. So the dad probably just passed it on to her like a crack baby or some shit.
Oh shit! Radioactive babies from the Chrono?
Yeah, because it was called radioactive like waste, right? And they were just sniffing it.
Yeah,
basically.
It could have
gave her. It could have gave her powers.
It's not explained, so it's like origin story.
Yeah.
How about the ending, Vic?
Oh man!
I know you were tripping on the polar bear. Did you not like my? Did you not like my like explanation for it?
No, I did. I did. Also, me and Onarres did talk about that because we were trying to trip out on the ending as well. But he explained it pretty well. He said, and you also brought it to my attention that it was like the restart of life. Like those two. The polar bear was proof that there was actual life out there because
outside of them.
In the beginning, it stated in the beginning of the movie that there was all life was extinct. So for them to see the polar bear, and then also it was very reminiscent of like Cro-Magnon Man days where they had the actual bear skin on them in the middle of the snow with no weapons, and it was just her. She looked very Athabascan, like if she was an Eskimo.
They got from the ravers.
Yeah, they took those jackets from the ravers. So like I get what you were saying as well. At first it kind of threw me off, but then the more I thought about it, it was a representation of life kind of starting all over again after the Ice Age with just a few people. Whoever survived, it was like a natural selection. Whoever survived the train crash was going to restart the Earth from there on.
And also because of what I don't know, Nam, that's his name, right?
Yeah.
Nam?
Yeah, he's the one who noticed the airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
When he talks about 10 years ago, he only saw the tip of the tail, and now it's been 10 years, and now he sees the whole entire airplane. Yeah.
So it's like the snow is thinning.
That means everything's melting. It's getting warmer outside, and we can go outside.
So I did have a question about Nam. He was a part of the elites, or part of the higher society of the train, because he said he was.
I think he ran security.
Okay, and so when he ran security, how did he end up in those fucking sleeping chambers?
I think because he got I don't know, I'm just guessing, maybe because he became addicted to the Chrono.
Oh, so those were like, he was almost like in a jail type cell, or
because he was in the prison section of the train.
Oh, that's true. Okay, I remember.
I feel like that he was playing it off as well, like, he's an addict, so he can collect that stuff, and then like he did in the movie. Like,
because he ends up saying he's like that's why I need so much. You see him pushing it all together into like a putty
C4, like a C4 bomb.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. Did you guys notice? You can see the camera in one shot.
No.
A production camera in one shot.
No, which scene is that?
It's the part where the fucking hitman that reminds me of Richter from Total Recall. The dude in the suit, his name's like Vlad or something. The executioner guy.
Okay,
He's about to walk into the sauna, and where they're all hiding and shit, where it's just like the lights. But as soon as the doors are about to open, the camera kind of pans down and it goes behind him, and you can see the lines from the camera, like the two power cords from the camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's just a shadow for like maybe 2 or 3 seconds. But I'll find the actual time. The time frames and send it to you guys so you guys can see it and shit.
Send me the time code.
The time code, there you go. Time cop.
didn't read a script until I already knew Bong-Joon-Ho as a friend. And even before that, I was a mega fan of his work. So it went in that order. So he had me at hello. You know, he could have asked me to do anything and I would have done it. And he sent me this script, and it was very clear when I read it that there was nothing in it for me. There were only 2 women in the film, and one of them was clearly going to have to be Octavia, and the other was this wonderful actress who played Claude, Jana, and I knew there was nothing for me, so we sort of agreed to talk about the future. And then a few weeks later he wrote to me and said, "Now look, you see Minister Mason, this described as a mild-mannered man in a suit. What do you think about that?" And I said, "Okay, how much fun can we have?" And he said, "Let's try me," basically. So I kind of started to play, and he just went with it. Well, it was really, I felt that it was really an opportunity to show a politician as a clown, as a sinister clown. That's what I wanted to show. Is, you know, I feel we've seen so many, you know, mild-mannered men in suits being really sinister and serious and kind of threatening and sort of glowering in the background. And I thought that there was something really interesting about the fact that we have an endless supply of bombastic leaders and bombastic politicians who do and say ridiculous things. And we like laughing about them. We like listening to George W. Bush saying hilarious malapropisms, and we laugh at Colonel Gaddafi putting, you know, fake medals on his chest, or Berlusconi being all bombastic, or Margaret Thatcher looking like a kind of super drag queen, or whatever it is. And we like all of that. Meanwhile, they are super sinister individuals, and they... I just think it's really interesting to look at the way in which someone that sinister and that authoritative and powerful and cruel can be what Bong-Joon-Ho calls cute, quirky, and at a certain point kind of lovable, in the sense that you kind of want more. Because we do, you know, monstrous politicians, people very often vote monstrous politicians in, I think, because they want the soap opera. There'll be somebody there and they'll say, "Oh, come on, let's vote for that guy because he's ridiculous. If we get him, we're going to have hilarious headlines. He's going to mess up. It's going to be like a total soap opera for months." I do believe, I hate to say it, that our attention span is so low that we very often vote for people because they're going to amuse us.
Would you wear a shoe on your head? Of course you wouldn't wear a shoe on your head. A shoe doesn't belong on your head. A shoe belongs on your foot. A hat belongs on your head. I am a hat. You are a shoe. I belong on the head. You belong on the foot. Yes? So it is. In the beginning, order was prescribed by your ticket. First class, economy, and frail orders like you. Eternal order is prescribed by the sacred engine. All things flow from the sacred engine. All things in their place. All passengers in their section. All water flowing, all heat rising pays homage to the sacred engine. In its own particular, preordained position. So it is.
That was beautifully written by Bong-Joon-Ho and Kelly Masterson, who wrote the script. That was a great speech. This whole idea of the shoe, which of course is completely from life. You know, the shoe, people throwing shoes at George Bush and people throwing the shoes at politicians through history. And the shoe was a very important emblem of the Arab Spring, the revolution in North Africa. And so I think that was always going to be there.
What was your favorite part, Wes?
Maybe when they fucking go into the tunnel and they have to fight in the dark, and all those dudes put on the night vision or whatever. It's pretty nuts.
Yeah. He's like, "We need fire."
Yeah.
They lost a lot of people there.
Like the brutality,
They did.
They cut like most of their force, but basically just freaking Curtis and, you know, for a while Gray, and then Edgar.
Yeah, that's when Edgar gets taken out during that time.
That probably really hurt.
Edgar was a cool character. That was fucked up when he gets like Like,
his death wasn't satisfying.
yeah, it's like, yo, why didn't he should have tried to save him, you know? Because I feel like they play off of like, oh, be careful, like that's his best friend and shit, and he murdered his mom and shit, and he just turns his back on him, like, oh well, like bye bye.
I think he was like, he had to make a choice. It was like either save him and let her get away and lose leverage and basically lose leverage for the train.
I get it.
We're saying like,
I get
it was all choices, Telltale style. You had to like just choose
A or B.
Oh no! R.I.P. to that studio. Dude.
Yeah, dude. He was like, choose to save the train or not, dude.
What if he did save him? Then what? Like nothing really, right? He would be going backwards.
That's true. Maybe he's always making forward progression, and he felt once he left that, maybe that's like an actual thing in the movie. I hope that's not like a Swan fact. He never goes backwards in the movie.
No, that's
he's like he's the chrono time Curtis going forward.
Yep, that's true, chrono. Hey, Wes. You know what I was thinking about, and it was kind of funny that I thought about this was. What if this whole movie for Chris Evans is just Lucas Lee being an action hero in a movie? Lucas Lee, his character from Scott Pilgrim.
That would be that'd be insane.
Especially because the teacher is the drummer from Sex Bob Omb.
Yeah.
We're here to watch Scott Pilgrim kick your teeth in. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I wanted to say the brutal scenes and like how good they were filmed. Most of the nicer scenes were like with the scenes of color, like the aquarium and the greenery room. The little children's room was all crazy, especially how they got the girl that was pregnant to shoot at them too. Like,
oh, that's true. Huh? Yeah, I really liked the underwater scene too. Was pretty cool, where they had like the actual, or it looks like if you're in SeaWorld. Even though that gives me anxiety, it was really cool to see that, like in a movie. You guys think he would be able to survive on the train?
Maybe not. Like, you would probably have to go down with them, dude. Like, I don't know. If you notice, no one else got forward, dude. Like, and they started killing fools in the back, dude. Like, remember they started shooting people, dude. Like, no one was.
Oh yeah, they were like 17% of his car was like kept alive. They just murdered everybody.
Yeah, I don't think anybody was surviving any of that, and it was only like a percentage left. So
yeah, 17.
I thought it was really fucked up that they used kids in the engine room like that too.
Wilford's explanation. He's like, children are the perfect size to get in, in the engine.
Hands like
they need a small person.
Yeah.
Hey, James, have you watched the YouTube theory about Snowpiercer and Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
there's a theory, dude, of why everything happens in this movie, and it's pretty nuts, dude. Like, I don't want to get super into it, but
it lines up.
Once you watch that, it gives you a whole new perspective on the movie, like why they're so innovative, why they need a small child for that small space.
The technology.
I'll just check it out.
And also why Wilfred needs somebody to kind of be his successor, and sends out, almost like a golden ticket to lure him to be the chosen one, almost,
Yeah.
And he kind of makes that decision just like Charlie, but it's pretty nuts, dude. And there's a lot of similarities. Did you end up watching that, Wes?
Yeah, I watched it.
What'd you think, man?
It was nuts. It's like 14 minutes of bonkers like comparisons. It's insane. They're basically pitching that Snowpiercer is an unofficial sequel to Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, and they break it. They like give you concrete evidence of comparisons of why that makes sense, and it's insane.
Yeah, lines up. There's only a couple, like maybe one